here today to talk about a BART fare increase scheduled for January 1st, 2016, which is the second in a series of inflation-based fare increases recently approved by the BART Board. I'll be discussing the policy that supports it and the larger program of which the January increase is a part, as well as BART's pressing need to reinvest in a system that's over 40 years old and carrying its most riders ever. I'll start out with information about the BART Financial Stability Policy, which supports the inflation-based fare increase program, and notes that to deliver safe, reliable service, BART needs a strong and stable financial foundation. One of the policy's goals is to preserve and maximize BART's fare revenue base through a predictable pattern of fare adjustments while retaining ridership. The board addressed this goal in 2003 when it approved the first productivity adjusted inflation-based fare increase program. This program called for a below-inflation fare increase every 2 years. We calculated the percentage fare increase by taking the average of national and local inflation over the preceding 2-year period and subtracting 0.5%. The 0.5% reduction represents BART's improving productivity. The 4 increases between 2006 and 2012 generated about an additional $300 million, giving BART the money to operate and reinvest in the system as well as maintain service levels during the recession that began in 2008. In 2013, after the success of the first program, the board renewed BART's inflation-based fare program for increases in 2014, 2016, 2018, and 2020. The formula used to calculate these increases is identical to the previous formula. Prior to implementing each increase, the board must approve a separate Title VI equity analysis of impacts, which includes gathering public comment. Per board direction, all revenue from the second fare increase program goes only to reinvest in BART. The revenue helps fund BART's extensive capital needs to keep the system running safely and reliably. These funds are critical because BART needs an estimated $9.6 billion to pay for the highest priority capital reinvestment projects over the next 10 years, which include an expanded new railcar fleet, an updated train control system, and an improved, expanded maintenance facility in Hayward. Although BART has planned over the years for many of the reinvestments, getting external funding is difficult and often highly dependent on regional and local sources, so BART itself must contribute funding. Extending BART's inflation-based fare increase program is a key self-funding source. Over the 8-year program, based on current inflation and ridership projections, we expect that over $325 million in additional fare revenue will be generated to reinvest in the system. From the 5.2% increase effective January 1st, 2014, for example, we're getting about $20 million per year for capital programs. Here's how the below-inflation 3.4% increase scheduled for January 1st, 2016 is calculated, using the formula I mentioned earlier. Inflation between 2012 and 2014 was 3.9%. Subtracting the 0.5% for BART's productivity improvements, we get 3.4%. The table shows some sample fares. The trip between downtown Berkeley and MacArthur will cost $1.95, a 10-cent increase over the current fare. Traveling between El Cerrito del Norte and downtown Oakland will increase by 10 cents to $2.55. And riders going from Walnut Creek to San Francisco's Powell Street will see a fare increase of 15 cents to $5.25. The January fare increase is projected to generate about $15 million per year to help pay for system reinvestments, in addition to the $20 million annually from the 2014 increase. The next steps in the January fare increase process include gathering public comment, an effort that this YouTube is part of, and bringing the Title VI report that includes all public comment gathered to the BART Board for approval this summer, which is currently scheduled for July 23rd. With that approval, fares will increase by 3.4% rounded to the nearest nickel on January 1st, 2016. We'd like to get your input. Here are several ways to let us know what you think. By U.S. mail, Office of Civil Rights, 300 Lakeside Drive, Suite 1600, Oakland, California, 94612. By fax at 510-464-7587. By phone at 510-464-6752. Or by email, fairs@bart.gov. Thanks for watching and your interest in BART.